Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is @ThePaddyPower, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather, or the gym.
Light the candle, Tiger!
Hi there, it's Wednesday. Welcome along to another Racing Post Golf Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, and joining me this week are Joe Champion from the Racing Post and Ian McLaughlin from Paddy Power. Steve's having yet another week in the sunshine. He's back next week, but we've got two tournaments to get stuck into. One absolute cracker, one maybe not quite so good. We've got the Genesis Open at beautiful Riviera in Los Angeles, and then some sort of weird thing that starts off as a 54-hole stroke play event and then turns into virtual crazy golf by the end. Hopefully the lads have got some really good bets. We will start off though by looking back on what happened last week. We had another winner in what was he called? David Law, who I've never heard of. We've had Adam Long and
Adam
David
Long,
Law. Yeah. I've never heard of these guys. What price was he at the start?
I think he was a 500-to-1 shot at the start of the week.
Now, you said to me, Ian, that you took about 19 bets on Adam Long. How many did you take on David Law? It cannot be double figures.
No, it was under 10.
I should think it was. So another great week as far as the European Tour went for the bookmakers. Is there anything else to add, Joe? Did you learn anything on that tournament, or was it just a poor, low-grade event?
Well, fair play to David Law for a start, because he's a guy who's struggled. You know, he's had personal problems as well. And,
Has he what?
His wife had a stillborn child a couple of years ago, which is terrible.
God.
Yeah. So
was it emotional when he won?
It was indeed, yeah. And this is a guy who was struggling on the course as well. He nearly lost not only his European Tour card, but his Challenge Tour card. He was thinking of giving up the game a couple of years ago, and you know, suddenly he's got a 2-year exemption and he'll be playing all the big tournaments.
Oh, I'll have to read up on that. Then I didn't realise it was a
David
nice
Law.
feel-good story.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you watch the final bit, Ian?
No, it was too late in the evening for me now. It was a 5 a.m. finish, so yeah, I was tucked up in bed.
You knew you were going to win money, so you just lay there and thought of the bonus. Over in America, we had a Monday finish at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and Phil Mickelson got the job done there. It was just probably slightly better back, because I guess there's still a lot of Phil loyalists out there, aren't there, Ian?
To say I slept well on Saturday evening into Sunday, I didn't sleep well from Sunday into Monday. He was a poor result in the end. Punters kind of latched onto him when he kind of came into the fray kind of Saturday evening into Sunday, obviously, and he was just with doubts about Paul Casey's finishing ability. I think people latched on to Phil at the 9-2. He looked a crack in each way bet going into Sunday and eventually winning on Monday.
Joe, Casey's ability to convert a 54-hole lead has been a problem throughout his career, hasn't it? And it reared its head again. I mean, what is the problem with him? Because I mean, he's playing well, but he's just never been someone that you feel you can fully trust in the old pressure cooker situation.
I think it is a mental thing with Casey, and so many golfers do have that problem. I think if you're going to catch him, then he'll be coming off the pace rather than, you know, having a 54-hole lead. I think that's where the problem is. Suddenly it's in his head. We saw it with Ricky Fowler the week before in Phoenix. You know, Ricky Fowler's probably most likely to win a tournament where he comes from off the pace.
Yeah, but at least Fowler got it done, didn't he?
Well, just about though. I
got back up.
Yeah.
Okay. What I want to know, Ian, and as you know, I'm very passionate about slow play. I wasn't really engaged with the golf this weekend, but I looked to see what was happening, and I saw that the final round had been suspended on Sunday night. Everyone's finished, but on the PGA app, you've got Mickelson having played 16 and Casey having played 15. How have they managed to get 2 holes behind everyone else?
I'm not too sure, because there were 4 balls going out when the celebrities left, to miss the cut. There was 4 balls going out before the 2 balls, so I think there were 6 2 balls to finish, and then a couple of 4 balls in there as well. So to see, I was the same. I kind of went to bed after he had bogey 12 and Phil was 2 or 3 clear. I go, right, this is over. Whether they get it done or not is kind of irrelevant. He's going to win the tournament basically. So yeah, when I woke up and saw everyone was finished, the 2 lads still, I think it was the conversation that they were having on the 17th tee. I don't know if you saw it.
No.
Casey chose Casey chose not to put on 16 green because he could come back tomorrow on fresh greens. It was only a 3-foot putt. I don't think it would make much of a difference. And Phil was kind of bringing this point across, going, let's get the tournament finished tonight. Obviously, you got a 3-shot lead. You want to get out of there with the trophy, so you don't want to hang around. So that took about 15, 20 minutes, while other players were probably playing 18, finishing 17 up 18.
Seething at this
He was.
Mickelson wanted to get out and get dancing, didn't he? He likes to celebrate. And in case he was saying, no, I need to study this 3 foot.
He said he couldn't see.
He couldn't see. Well, it looked like it was still okay. I know the cameras added plenty of light, but it didn't look that bad. I think Casey was just kind of digging his feet in.
I suppose the point is, if you can't finish the tournament, then there's no point waiting, is there? I don't know, but anyway.
Casey had the amateur leader playing
That's
alongside
true.
him.
Oh, did he?
That was his excuse, I think.
He was ambling about for the whole round.
All right, well, we won't dwell on that, but what we will do is get one takeout from last week from each of the lads. So, Ian, what did you learn last week?
What I learned was with Phil's win at Pebble this week, he's obviously been very popular for the US Open in June. I would say err on the side of caution if you want to start filling your boots on Phil, because you're going to see a completely different golf course come June. Like, I was looking through the year, the Pebble Beach Pro-Am to the US Open in 2010, minus 18 won again, plus 1 won the tournament with Graham McDowell in the major that summer. So Phil is obviously great when he gets a little bit of room off the tee. The rough isn't that penal. He can hit it everywhere. He uses short game to great effect. I don't think he's going to be able to do that in June. So I'd tell punters to err on the side of caution if you're going to get stuck in the fill for the US Open.
So that what was 1 inch rough will certainly be 1 metre rough, yeah?
Exactly, knee high rough, yeah.
Interesting. Joe?
On that point, I'm not sure. They've said that they're not going to make the rough too different to how it was at Pebble. I'm not sure the USGA, you never know what they're going to do with it.
The one thing you do know is they're going to make it tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and we've got to remember that it was really soft this week. It's going to be firm, fast conditions by June. So, yeah, but I wouldn't write Mickelson off completely because he's so good at the course. And he hasn't won a US Open, but he's come close so many times. So you can't say that he can't win.
Righto, a little argument there. Blimey, I'm not used to this. Everyone gets on well on the Golf Postcast, and along comes the champ, and all hell breaks loose. Let's look at our first tournament of the week next.
Success ain't earned, it's bought. That's why at Paddy Power, we paid the big bucks for the best tech nerds in the world to develop our new, fastest ever app. Download the new app from the App Store or Play Store now. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Be the right club today!
Right then, let's look at the Genesis Open. The big names are out. It's a real cracker. It's at the beautiful Riviera course in Los Angeles. And Ian, how did Paddy Power bet on the Genesis Open?
Yes, 8 places this week in Riviera. Dustin Johnson heads are betting at 9-1. Rory McIlroy 12-1. Bryson DeChambeau 14-1. Justin Thomas 14-1. John Ram 16-1. Bubba Watson 20-1, Xander Schauffele 20-1, Tiger Woods 20-1, and 22-1 bar.
What a tournament this is going to be. Joe, before we get the selections, one thing that slightly puzzles me about Riviera is that it's got this reputation of being a plotter's course, very tight. You can't just take the driver out of the bag and give it a good old lick. But Bubba's won 2 of the last 3, and Dustin Johnson's won the other one. So I'm just slightly confused about the reputation the course has and the actual reality of which type of player wins.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I actually agree with you to an extent here, because I think, whilst it has this reputation as a plotter's course, if you're going to miss it, then miss it long, because if you miss it and you don't hit it far, then we're talking about 200 plus yard shots in second shots. It's a second shot course, really. And, I think especially with the weather they've been having in California, it's going to play really long this week. So I think it will play into the hands of the longer hitters. But yeah, these guys, it's a faders track as well. So you'll expect to see people like DJ with his massive power fade doing well there. But yeah, longer hitters I think this week will thrive.
Where do you stand on that one, Ian? Do you think that the course has changed slightly? And is it just that the top players now are not just long, but they're also actually accurate off the tee?
Yeah, I completely agree with the points you're making there. Like, since the redesign, it's over 7,300 yards. It's getting plenty of rain so far. It's going to get more rain now until the start of the tournament. It's going to play very, very long. So yeah, as you mentioned, my list of selections is power players. So yeah, absolutely.
Right then, how many have you got, Ian?
I've got 5 overall.
5? That's not like you. You're pushing
I know.
the boat out. How many have you got, Joe?
Also 5.
5 each. Right then, let's get Ian's number 1.
Number 1 is Rory McIlroy. Started this 2019 PGA Tour schedule strongly. 4th at the Tournament of Champions, was followed by an impressive 5th at Torrey Pines. Has had 2 appearances at Riviera, was 20th in 2016 and also 20th last year. In 2016 he was tied for the lead heading to the final round, had a poor final round 76. I'm not going to take that too much into account. There's good affiliation with the course with those two performances. Looking at the weather forecast the next day or two, as I mentioned, there's going to be plenty of rain in the golf course. There's no better player in a long and soft golf course than Rory McIlroy. Look through his 15 to 16 wins in the PGA Tour. About 80% of them have come at long and soft golf courses. Obviously, this means he'll be able to take advantage with his driver. He's also making positive strides with his putter, looking through his stats. This is after help from Brad Faxon in the off-season. I thought he looked a really, really good each-way play this week, around 14 to 1.
Okay, and Joe, who's your main man?
And my man is the defending champion, Bubba Watson. I think with Bubba, you've just got to catch him at the courses where he loves to play. You know, he's this sort of eccentric character, and he doesn't always get on with the courses, but he's a three-time winner here. And it's similar to courses he's won at, the Travellers, TPC River Highlands and Augusta. You know, when Bubba's playing well and he's confident, then I think he's the man to be on. And most recently in Phoenix, he was tied 4th. He ranked first for greens in regulation that week. I think, what else I forgot? Yeah, longest off the tee. Sorry, 4th in greens in regulation, and in the top 10 for accuracy off the tee as well. So, as you say, someone that hits it long and accurate is going to be deadly around here. So, yeah, Bubba for me.
Okay, so let's get your other 4. Ian, rattle through them.
Yeah, I've got 2 more at the front end and 2 big ones, 2 big priced outsiders. First is Bryson DeChambeau. I think he gives McIlroy much to think about this week. Arguably the best player in the world at the minute in relation to form. Has been outside the top 20 in his last 10 worldwide starts. These have included 8 top 10s, 4 wins. He looks to have enhanced his putting figures with him be able to leave the flagstick in on the greens. I think he's close to unbeatable if he has a really strong week on the greens. His tee to green game is that good. He said he didn't have his A game with his irons on Saudi Arabia, still managed to finish 6th. That included the final round 65. Comes here in excellent form and looks a really good each way play again at 16 to 1.
What about that 41st last year? Does that worry you slightly?
Not really. I think he's an exponentially better player than he was last year. So yeah, I wouldn't have too many concerns about it really.
Okay.
Next with the front end is actually, as Joe mentioned, Bubba Watson. I'll just try and touch on a couple other points. Came back into form with a 4th place at Phoenix. He ranked 1st in strokes gained tee to green for the week. Had a really poor week in the greens. I think he was in the bottom 25%. He would have won easily with an average week. As Joe mentioned, coming to one of his favourite stops in the PGA Tour at Riviera. 3-time winner here, 2014, 2016 and last year. Loves the course, possibly because it resembles the shot shapes at Augusta, so it probably suits his eye that much. He's obviously a 2-time winner at Augusta as well. With the return back to form, his ball striking looking to be in great shape, and back to a course he loves. I thought 22 to 1 looked more than fair this week.
Right, so that's 20% of the book taken out. What are you going for, Dustin and Justin?
No, I've got 2. It's Cameron Champ's the next one, the outsider. This is more from a price perspective. I can't let Champ go off 100 to 1 on any field. Even more so, a Riviera could be playing soft, and strong drivers of the golf ball should flourish. No better driver of the golf ball on tour than Champ. Was 28 last week at Pebble Beach, which is encouraging. Course doesn't really suit him at all. Missed cut here last year, but has improved a lot as a player, obviously. Thought it was worth a flyer at 100 to 1. And the second outsider is Aaron Wise. Again, a pick based purely on price. Not in the best of form, but is a natural talent who can find his form easily. 1st-time winner in the PGA Tour last year. 4 top 15 finishes in a row before 27th the tournament champions. 151 was worth a speculative play and a very, very talented player. Okay,
right then, Joe, who are your other 4?
Yeah, I agree on Cameron Champ, and I can't really add to what Ian said there. Adam Hadwin is another one that I like. He's become a California specialist. He's finished in the top 6 in the last 4 editions of the Desert Classic at La Quinta, and he played all right at Pebble last week, and he's played well here. He finished in 6th last year, and his worst finish I think is 34th in his last 4 starts here. He loves playing on the West Coast clearly, and I just think while he's not the longest hitter on tour, he's by no means short, and he's the best scrambler on tour as well this season so far, which relates well to a course like this where people are going to miss lots of greens.
Okay. And who are your other 2?
I like another bomber, Jason Kokrak, who's played better here than anywhere else in his career, really. He's finished 22nd or better in his last 3 starts, including a tie for 2 in 2016. And he loves playing in California as well. A couple of Desert Classic top 20s to his name. And, he's played decent at Pebble, even if he skipped it last week, because a lot of guys had the flu last week. He should be ready to go.
We've got golf flu as well as equine flu.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible, isn't it? Everyone's getting it.
Let's quarantine all golfers. We don't want them coming over. We might have the Open.
And I've got one at a wild price. You can get 400 to 1, and it's Max Homa.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah,
Max Homa.
Max Homa. I'm quite sure. This is a bit of a mad one, but he qualified after finishing 10th at Pebble last week when Scott Piercy free putted, so he just got in. And he's a California lad. He lives about an hour away from the course, and he's played it a couple of times sort of not doing that well, missing cuts, but he's playing better than ever now. I mentioned Pebble last week and a top 30 at the Phoenix, and he played this at the NCAA Championship, the college tournament in 2012, and he finished top 10 in an event where there were some good players in that. Thomas Peters, Patrick Cantlay, they were also in the top 10. So, I'd give him a shout each way at the prices, and maybe more looking at top 40 markets where I think he's 7-1 with Paddy Power.
Good little sus there. Yeah, there he is. M. Homer, M-H-O-M-A. I have a little, sometimes this is how my mind works. I think about funny little two balls you could get in golf. And if you ever played Webb Simpson, Homer Simpson would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Nice.
So we'll see how that one goes. What do you know about Max Homer, Ian?
Yeah, looking through him, he's obviously a young player from the web.com, and as Joe mentioned, that NCAA 2012, that's a nice little form book, because I think Peters has gone well here in debut in the past. I think he was 4th here in 2016, and that was a kind of a piece of form that really stood out before the tournament as well. And obviously Cantlay, I think, was 4th last year as well. So yeah, I think that's a nice looking shout, and I think I'll be taking an axe to that 7-1 top 40 when I get back to the desk.
Oi, no, wait till this comes out. We're watching you, okay? You've got to let the listeners get on.
Okay.
Well, at least me, anyway. That's a good little sus that, Joe.
Yeah,
well played. I like that.
He could finish 140 if they.
Of course he could. Let's go through the. We'll do our little quick one line on the fancied runners we haven't mentioned yet. Ian on Dustin.
Yeah, we're looking to take him on this week. We're top price in the industry. I think it's just, obviously the course is going to suit him massively, but it's been a long couple of weeks. Like, he was in Saudi Arabia, back to California, looked to be a little bit jet lagged. Happy to take him on around anything less than double figures. Okay,
our esteemed colleague Ian Mickelson, who is standing in for Steve this week in the paper, has gone for Justin Thomas. What do you think of Justin Thomas, Joe?
Yeah, there's always plenty to like about Justin Thomas, but I just think there's better value further down the market in this tournament.
Okay, Big Johnny Rahm, Ian.
Yeah, potential. He's one of those other power faders as well. Again, happy to let him go off at 16-1.
Course debut as well.
Course debut too, yeah, of course.
Tiger, Joe?
Has played here more than anywhere else without winning, so I'm happy to leave him this week. I think
not his sort of gas,
if Tiger's going to win, it's going to be Florida in a few weeks' time, maybe.
Okay, anything else to add before we wrap on the Genesis Open, Ian?
No, happy enough with the 5 bets, as you said, taking up plenty of the front end of the market.
I know you are, blimey. That's what I've noticed that with Steve and Jeremy Chapman down the years, if they haven't had a winner for a while, you get the old tips and you think, blimey, they need a winner. Joe, you've got your 7-1 Max Homer for a top 40. That's with Paddy Power.
Yep.
Good. Long may that last. Anything else to add, Joe?
No, that's it for me.
Good. Well done, mate. Very good. Right then, let's look at the European Tour event next.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet then next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Oh, baby.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Golf Postcast. It's Bruce Millington, Joe Champion, and Paddy Powers. Ian McLaughlin. Right then, I need to know how the World Super 6 works before I find out who wins it. So, Joe, we've compiled a little panel in the Racing Post. I've read it and I still don't quite get it. Can you just do your best to explain to me what the deal is with this? Okay,
so for the first couple of rounds, it's very simple. Just a normal regulation cut, top 65, and ties go through to round 3. And then in the third round, the top 24 will then progress to the match play. In the event of there being players tied for 24, there's a playoff, a sudden death playoff up at 18 that can go on for a little while. I think Kiridesh Afibarnarat won it last year. He played the 18th tee 15 times or something. So it can be a grueling one. And then you've got the 24 on Sunday that go into a match play format. So there are effectively 8 seeds that go immediately through to the second round. And then there's the 16 other players who play off in that first round.
That then gives you a round of 16 and then you crack on, yeah? So there's 6, it's a 6-hole stroke play.
It's a 6-hole stroke play, okay. Yes.
And then, Ian, I'm told the playoff there's a sort of pitch and putt element. It is match play or stroke play?
6-hole match play.
Which is it?
6-hole match play, yeah.
6-hole match play, but then what happens if they're tied at the end of that?
I think they just continue playing. I think it's sudden dead again.
I'm looking here. It says any match is not decided will go to a shootout hole measuring 90 metres that uses the 18th green.
Yeah.
This is mad. We'll have a windmill next, won't we? We'll have a crazy golf windmill. Look, I mean, I'm all for trying new things, but I'm not sure with golf. I know golf's got a bit of an image problem and that the player numbers are waning, But I'm not sure, Ian, is this the way to bring it back?
No, like Steve and myself always say, we're purists on this side of the game. So yeah, I don't like any of this sort of change. I won't be watching the event really if it's on TV. It's just not for me really.
No, and it's on it's in Perth where there's an 8-hour time difference.
Yeah.
So. Okay, but against that, a winner is a winner. So let's see what the boys got. Joe, how many tips have you got for us on this?
I've got 3.
3. And are you going to be tipping on the outright or the 54 hole? Because I know that a lot of the bookmakers are offering a 54 hole market, aren't they? You're going to go for glory on the outright.
Toying with this, I think the best option is probably just split stakes across the two, because you'll be kicking yourself either way.
Yeah. It's hard to tip someone for 54 holes and they say, oh yeah, but I don't fancy him on the Sunday, isn't it? So any tips you put up, you're going to say, have a 5 each way on the outright and a 5 each way on 54 holes.
That's the way to go, really.
And is that going to be your strategy as well, Ian?
Yeah, I have one selection, and my advice would be split stakes across 54 hole and the outright.
One selection?
Yes.
How many did you say you had, Joe? 3. Right, well, Joe, we'll get your main one now.
Okay, my main selection is Paul Dunne, the one of Ian's compatriots. You know,
Is that a positive?
I'm not sure Irish people have great form in this, but you know, we've only had 2 editions of it. So, yeah, Paul Dunne, he won the GolfSixes, another one of these kind of novelty events in the Irish team alongside Gavin Moynihan last year, and you know, he's played the Vic Open last week and finished 17th, and that's Paul Dunne's best finish so far. It's his best finish since April. You know, he's been struggling off the tee, and there were signs last week that he was getting back to his best. I think he ranked 15th in accuracy off the tee in the field last week, and you know, this is a wide course, so even if he's not that accurate, it's gonna help him out. It's got big wide fairways, and that's going to suit him. It's in Perth, and any cricket fans will know about the breeze that comes in the afternoon in Perth. The Fremantle Doctor, yeah. And that won't bother Paul Dunne. He's a proven sort of links type player. So I think, you know, if he can get into that match play situation, then he's got match play form. He's a good player when he's playing well. So, you know, if he gets onto Sunday, he could easily win. Okay,
I have 1 week off and I've completely forgotten Postcast protocol. We start off with a show of betting from Paddy Power. So if you could write that wrong now, Ian, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, so we're 4 places. We're offering extra places on the 54-hole stroke play, but I'll give you the outright betting as well. Thomas Petersheads are betting at 16-1. Joint favourite actually with Tom Lewis. Lucas Herbert next in at 18-1. Jason Scrivener 18-1. Ryan Fox 25-1. Justin Harden 25-1. Brad Kennedy 28-1 and 33-1 bar.
Peters has been a headline tip in the post. That's Ian Wilkerson's fancy, so it looks like he's been backed already. Ian, one selection. Who's it going to be?
Yes, it's Min Woo Lee, a young Aussie player who's potential to be a star. Was an excellent 4 2 weeks ago on the Saudi International. 63-63 over the weekend. Finished 11th in the 54-hole stroke play portion of this event last year on debut. Was eventually knocked out in the quarter-final stage. I think he's a much better player arriving this year. I think he could go very well at 50-1.
Ah, Wilco's put him up as well.
Ah, okay.
See, this is the heartbreak with this, isn't it? You could win the 54 hole by 5 shots, and then in a 6-hole match play, you know, sprint, you can just get a bit of bad luck or whatever, can't you?
Did both in 2017 in the first edition. He
what do you mean, did both?
He won the 54 hole and then won.
Oh, and then hung on. Yeah. Justice was done.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Who have you also got in addition to Paul Dunne?
I've got Poom Saxonson. I think I've said that right.
The doctors do a lovely ointment for that.
We've only got 2 editions of this to go on form-wise, but Thais tend to have a good record in this, and Kiradech Afabarnrat won it last year. The year before that, a young lad, Pashara Kongwat Mai, came second, and the winner of the 54 hole last year was Paul Misawat.
All right, yeah, I've got him, yeah.
Yeah.
70-1 with Paddy Power, this fella.
Yeah, he's playing well. He won the Indonesia Masters at the end of the year, and that's an event where Justin Rose and Henrik Stenson were the 2 headline guys in it. So, you know, a decent field really for the Asian Tour. And
Steve put him up recently. He got placed at a massive price, I think, back in the last year.
I think he backed.
Oh yeah, and he won it, didn't he? That's right. That was when I had the cross doubles, and I'd him at 110-1. And I can't remember, someone let me down absolutely chronically over in America for the Life Changer. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, he made the match play edition of the match play, well, the 4th round of this event, let's say, last season. And, You know, he's showed up well in a couple of other co-sanctioned European Tour events last year. He had a top 20 in Fiji and in Hong Kong. 24th at Singapore in January. He was contending going in, and then he had a final round 76. But it looks like he's playing well, and he could be up for winning this, yeah.
Okay, and who else we got?
And the other one is an Aussie, Nick Cullen, who's twice an Australian Tour winner. And he's got a good record in this event. When it was the Perth International, he'd finished 15th in it in 2016, and he's since made the match play twice. And I think he's 100 to 1 to win the match play, and I think 66 to win the 54 hole. I think he's worth a shout.
Great. I tell you, we've got some strength in depth over here, haven't we, Ian? Look at
absolutely.
Joe, golf's number
excellent.
3, stepping in with all those clever susses. Very good indeed. Anything else we should know about this tournament, do you think, Ian?
Nothing really to add. No, just if you're going to have if anyone's going to have a bet, just have a 54-hole bet and then an outright bet, so you're not stung on either side.
Okay, fine. Got any thoughts on Peters, Ian?
The course probably won't suit him as much as he would like. It can be quite tight around up there, and the six, like there's so much variance in the 6-hole match play. I'd let these favourites go off the price at the yard. If they win, they win type of thing. So
okay, fine, jolly good. Right then, if we only had one golf bet this week, what would it be, Joe?
Watson to win the Genesis Open.
And what would yours be, Ian?
Rory McIlroy to win the Genesis Open.
Okay, lads, thank you very much indeed. That will do for this week. What have we got next week? Steve is deigning to return to these shores from his sunshine. Oh, we're in Mexico. What for?
Yeah. The WGC Mexico Championship. It's a great little event. Yeah, it's 80-man field. It's brilliant. It's up in the trees at altitude. It's great. Yeah, it's an excellent course.
Okay, and then what else have we got? Is it the Puerto Rico Open as well?
I think Puerto Rico's there as well, and the European Tour I think is off this week. Let me just double check that.
Okay.
As soon as I can.
So we've got a good one next week, yeah?
Yeah, it's a great one next week. Yeah.
Fantastic, excellent. All right then, I am back on Thursday for the football postcast. We're looking ahead to all the FA Cup action, and we've also got a fantastic Friday racing postcast featuring actual horse racing. So looking forward to that. And don't forget, Steve and Ian will be back next Wednesday for another Racing Post Golf Postcast.
Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is ThePaddyPower, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather, or the gym.
Light the candle, Tiger!